begin to move forward on what will be a long and difficult road to healing, but we will heal together.
It is now 7 o'clock on a Wednesday night, a normal night in so many ways, just like last Wednesday was too.
It was a night when people gathered to go bowling, grab some food, maybe a beer, play cornhole with friends. But it was at this very moment, about 7 o'clock 1 week ago, that Lewiston's sense of normalcy was shattered.
It lasted just minutes at two different locations, a bowling alley and a bar. But when it was over, there were 18 empty places in our communities, places once filled by people whose lives we want to honor tonight.
Tonight, we are dedicating this newscast to saying their names and sharing their stories.
And we want to start with a vigil happening tonight in Winthrop in honor of two of those people we lost, a father and his teenage son who were at the bowling alley in Lewiston where it all began.
CBS 13's Brad Rogers spoke with the family of Bill and Aaron Young, who continue to grapple with this unimaginable loss.
Well, here in Winthrop, a husband and father was shot and wounded in the attacks. A local high school student's uncle was killed, and so was a local school teacher's close friend. Not only that, a father and his teenage son were both shot and killed at the bowling alley. Among the first people killed by the gunman Wednesday night were 44-year-old Bill Young and his 14-year-old son, Aaron.
Losing one would have been hard enough, but losing both of them is just awful.
Kayla Putnam lost her stepdad and younger brother. She says the two of them like to go bowling together. She still can't believe they're gone.
I mean, I'm still having moments now every 5 minutes. I'm like, this can't be real.
She says Aaron was the baby of the family. He was a freshman at Winthrop High School.
He gave the best hugs. He was such a sweet kid, never talked bad about anybody or anything, and he was an honor student.
This kid has been in schools since kindergarten here, so I think that the ripple effect is beyond our comprehension.
As for Kayla's stepdad, she says he was the rock of the family, the one everyone would turn to in times like these.
He was, anchor of the family, just a great guy. He's going to be very, very missed, and it's very hard to cope without him right now.
Winthrop Superintendent Jim Hodgkin posted this. Sadly, we have learned that a freshman at the high school and his dad are among the victims that were killed. Additionally, the uncle of another high school student was also killed. This is a tremendous tragedy for our area, our town, our students, and everyone. My heart is broken by this.
Everyone was someone's son, daughter, brother, sister, parent.
Kayla is especially worried about her mom, who right now is distraught over the loss of her husband and son. How's your mom doing?
Devastated. Just absolutely devastated.
That vigil for Bill and Aaron Young wrapped up less than an hour ago.
Yeah, CBS 13 did have a crew on that scene. Of course, we'll bring that to you, more on that later this evening.
We're also learning about one of the victims and an unusual partnership, one featuring a man eager to share his love for a game with a girl eager to learn and gain a mentor.
Madison Sanborn was cornhole partners with Joe Walker. He was the manager there at Schmenge's Bar and Grill. CBS 13's Owen Kingsley sat down with Madison and her mom, who says that he taught her everything about the game and with it skills and lessons to carry with her for the rest of her life.
This community is still in mourning. Madison Sanborn is just one of those people who lost someone special in their lives, Joe Walker. Walker is being hailed a hero.
Everyone knew I loved cornhole and played at Schmenge's, and so I had 3 people text me being like, "Where are you? Are you home? Are you safe?" I'm like, "Yeah, why, what's up?" They're like, "There was a shooting at Schmenge's."
A gunman came inside Schmenge's Bar and Grill Wednesday evening after already shooting and killing 7 people at a bowling alley and shot and killed 8 more. Joe Walker's dad says his son attacked the shooter with a knife, losing his life while trying to save others.
And risked his life for those people because that's just who he is.
Madison Sanborn met Walker last year when he taught her to play cornhole. She says Joe took her under his wing. They became partners, winning several tournaments together. But her greatest memory isn't any of the wins, but when another of her playing partners inexplicably left in the midst of a tournament. That's when Joe gave her a pep talk, then hopped in to help her finish.
That moment, I ended up crying, not because I lost, because of how grateful I was for Joe and that he was there for me in that moment.
This Sunday is Madison's 15th birthday. and she was going to spend it playing cornhole at Schmenge's with her partner Joe in a tournament that he organized. Instead, she found out Thursday from Walker's nephew, a classmate of hers, that he had died.
Me, my mom, my sister all just broke down. We didn't know what to say or do. We just kind of cried it out.
Since his passing, this cornhole community is paying tribute to Walker's sacrifice and passion for the game by signing up for his Sunday tournament, even though now it will happen only in spirit.
We're going to heal and get better.
Madison returns to school on Monday.
I think it's important to be around people, her friends, and people that can support her.
A reminder of what she looked forward to after class.
I went to school looking forward to Tuesday after school. Like, I was just so psyched to see him.
Even after this tragic shooting, she knows he's with her forever in cornhole and in life.
He taught me a lot about cornhole, and I think I'm going to take that through my life and forever keep him right here.
That story originally aired last Saturday. They did have that event on Sunday. All that sign-up folks for that cornhole tournament that was supposed to happen. We're told it raised thousands of dollars, and Madison did have her 15th birthday on Sunday, surrounded by friends and family. Also, Joe Walker remembered tonight by another close friend who was playing cornhole with Walker when that shooting happened.
CBS 13 spoke with him as he reflects on that night and the loss of a longtime friend.
Alan Nickerson Jr. and Joe Walker had been best friends for 35 years. They did everything together. Sadly, Alan lost his best friend that night here at Schmenge's, and he came dangerously close to losing his own life.
Pop, pop, pop. That's when reaction hit. Everybody went everywhere. I just went to the ground. Never been so scared in my life. And I turned back, and I see him, the gun's at me. He fires twice. One hit me.
Alan Nickerson says the gunman then left. As he put pressure on his wound to stop the bleeding, he called out to his best friend.
And I'm hollering for Joe, because now I can hear people's voices. Okay, Richard's alive. I hear another voice. Larry's alive. I hear another, I'm trying to pinpoint people, and I yell. Joe don't answer. When I didn't hear his name yelling back at me, I knew then.
Alan recalls seeing the gunman before at Schmenge's.
I've seen him at Friday tournaments. I never knew his name. He needed help. He looked for help. He didn't get it. But I'm angry for what he did.
He also knew several members of the deaf community there who had no warning shots were being fired. 4 died, including his friend, Bill Brackett.
I feel so bad for all of them. Poor Billy, his family. I was at his wedding. He just had a baby.
Alan does have some nerve damage. Right now he can't move his left thigh. Doctors are hopeful that will change, but he says there's no guarantee. As for the loss of his longtime friend, that wound will take even longer to heal.
Keep an eye on us.
We went skydiving together.
He says their friendship brought out the best in each of them.
Joe became more and more social, more and more compassionate. God, I'm going to miss him so much.
So many holes in our community. Before we do head to break, tributes near and far continue to pour in for Lewiston in the aftermath of this tragedy.
These are just a few of them. We'll be right back.
As is often the case in horrific events like this, we also learned that there were heroes who emerged in this tragedy.
We know employees at both shooting locations died trying to protect others. Josh DeAngelos works at the bowling alley, and he tells us that Wednesday was his only night off.
But one of his close friends, Thomas Conrad, was working that night when he was shot and killed. He was the general manager who would often greet people at the door, and witnesses say that he died trying to stop the gunman.
He was a great guy, just in general. But what sticks out most for me is his love of the kids. You know, every kid that came in, he wanted to make sure they had the best time they ever did at the bowling alley. I'm pretty sure he was one of the first people to be shot, and he was always real close to the front entrance or at the front desk. And from what I heard, he charged the gunman.
Josh DeAngelo says he also knew other people who didn't make it, who were regular bowlers who practice on Wednesday night there at the bowling alley.
And as we continue our coverage, we also learned this week of a harrowing story of survival.
Jennifer Zanka was at Schmenge's bar and says she thought she was going to die that night after she was shot in her left shoulder.
She says she thought actually the bullet hit an artery and that she might bleed out before she could ever get to the hospital.
Among the thoughts running through her head, will I ever see my kids again? CBS 13's Brad Rogers has her story.
I heard the gun, I heard the rapid fire, just that. It was just so odd. So I turned around and I could see the expression on the other girl's face, like, get down. So I looked at the gunman and I just dropped to the floor and we crawled.
Jennifer Zanka was shot in the shoulder while she was trying to crawl to safety. Her sister-in-law played dead while a friend hid in a closet. She made it out, and as a former nurse, she used her right hand to hold her left shoulder like a tourniquet and flag down help. She may be the only survivor who got a good look at the gunman's face.
And then I sort of remember it was just this sort of blank, vacant. It was like vacant. I don't know how else to describe it. I'll be going along fine and talking to people, and then I have that vision of that man with a machine gun or whatever. And it's a miracle, really, that I'm still here. It didn't hit an artery. I didn't have any nerve damage. I won't really have much functioning on my bicep or my deltoid, but it's I have function in my hand.
Zanka used to work with one of the surgeons who operated on her and says they did an incredible job. She's also been talking to the friend she was with that night.
I've asked them how they're doing. They seem to be okay, but I do think that in time, it needs to come out because what we saw was horrific. I keep going over in my mind, like, what could make someone snap like that, and what can we do different?
She says what's amazing in the wake of this unbelievable tragedy is the outpouring of support from this entire community, this entire state.
The outpouring of support and love and community is just blows me away, and it's really heartening, to have that kind of support.
And Jennifer says that her shoulder only hurts when she moves. She feels a sharp pain at that point.
She tells CBS 13, though, the surgery did go extremely well, so glad to hear that. And as we all continue to rally around those who were injured or lost loved ones in this shooting, we want to continue to show you the images of support we're seeing.
Yes, so many, including flags at half staff across Maine for 18 days, 18 people who we lost that night.
A lot of tributes, big and small, to share. These are just some of them. We'll be right back.
Among the many hit hard, Maine's deaf community, losing multiple people in last week's shooting.
CBS 13's Asia Reed spoke with the wife of Steve Vozella, who was deaf and died at Schmenge's bar.
Wednesday's shootings hit the deaf community hard. They lost 4 people that night, one of them being Steve Vozella.
I met him July of 2009, and we were together for 14 years until we were just married last year. It hasn't been that long.
Holding a photo of him closely, Megan Vozella talks about the last time she saw her husband Steve alive, Wednesday morning.
Steve always said, "Bella, I love you." So that's the last time he told my daughter, "I love you." I gave him a kiss goodbye, said, "I love you." Off we went.
After work, they chatted over video right before he went to Schmenge's.
I called my husband, just checking in, see how he was doing. How's your day going? He smiled. He was joyful.
That was the last time they ever spoke. Hours later, Steve, who is deaf, was relaxing with others playing cornhole. Moments later, he was gone forever.
And then he was killed, and it's so senseless, and I don't understand why. He's precious to me. He's always happy. He's always asking about other people, always taking care of his family.
Megan Vozella says she can finally breathe now, but there's a lot of healing to do.
It's too much. We're just grieving. We're in shock. I can breathe a little bit now, but we'll never forget this. The pain will continue on, and it really hurts, and it's just so painful to see gun violence.
The wife of Joshua Seal, a deaf interpreter, is also sharing his story.
She says Seal was taking part in a cornhole event for deaf community members at the Schmenge's bar when he was killed. You may remember Seal during the pandemic. He was one of the main interpreters standing by the governor and also by the CDC director, Dr. Shaw, I should say.
His wife says he was just a phenomenal person, one she's known since they were both children.
Josh was a phenomenal father, always present for his kids. He was ambitious and involved in school events, going to their sporting events. He was always involved, chatting at home, taking them on outings, anything they needed. He was always supportive and always around. He was a fantastic husband.
She says she is glad the search for the suspect is over, sparing her and other loved ones years of painful court proceedings.
Another member of the deaf community, Brian McFarland, was also killed at that same bar 1 week ago tonight.
CBS 13 spoke to someone close to McFarland who first met him through a deaf truckers group. Vicki Ash says McFarland had his commercial driver's license and had a passion for trucking.
Now, she says he had recently moved back to Maine to pursue his dream of working on a farm. Then on Wednesday, she learned of the shooting on social media, tried to reach out to her friend.
She later learned he had been killed there at Schmenge's bar.
I was at the denial, kept telling myself he passed away happy because we're back. He got his friend back. He got the job he wanted.
Another person lost in last week's shooting was a Bath Iron Works employee.
Yeah, the sister of Peyton Brewer Ross says he had a bright future. He was engaged to be married, and that he and his fiancee had a 2-year-old girl.
CBS 13's Brad Rogers spoke with friends and family who remember him as a loving father with a larger-than-life personality.
It's not a case of where he died of an illness or died in a car accident. He was taken from us.
Nancy Lowell Cunningham, Peyton's older sister, says his fiancé has no idea how to tell their little girl what's happened to her dad.
She's looking for Daddy. She woke up on last Thursday morning, and the first words out of her mouth is, "Daddy, where's Daddy?" She was a daddy's girl.
She may never remember or have any awareness of the time she had with him. And like I said, as a father, that's just horrible to think about.
Union Rep Devin Ragnar says he and Peyton were often study partners in BIW's 4-year apprenticeship program.
Peyton absolutely was a kind, compassionate, caring individual. He was the kind of person who, when you spoke, he was listening.
He says Peyton had a larger-than-life personality. He loved comics, wrestling, his Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jim jacket, and making people laugh.
He liked WWE wrestling. He enjoyed cornhole and disc golf. And he was just a great guy to be around.
BIW President Chuck Cruz says in a statement they are heartbroken over his death. He says Peyton completed the grueling coursework and on-the-job training of BIW's rigorous apprenticeship program, graduating in 2022. He was a valuable member of our team and will be sorely missed. That's Peyton dancing with his daughter.
He was just vibrant and had so much to give and had worked so hard to get where he was.
Peyton's sister says the entire family is overwhelmed by the outpouring of support from around the state.
We just want everybody to know that we thank you for everything they're doing for us. We feel the love and support.
The union at BIW has been raising money for the family as well, so far raising tens of thousands of dollars for his daughter.
Yeah, great to hear that. Also tonight, a special moment this evening before the Battle of the Bridge High School football game, actually happening now between Lewiston and Edward Little High School. A game traditionally between arch rivals. Instead tonight, a moment of togetherness for Lewiston and Auburn.
And those fans got a real treat. Iconic singer James Taylor flew in from his home in Massachusetts tonight just to sing the national anthem before the game. Have a listen.
Just a sample right there. Special moment certainly for those fans. You can watch, by the way, this entire video along with all the stories and tributes on our website. Go to WGME.com and we'll be right back. So many of you have reached out, maybe stopped us in a grocery store, restaurant, called us to say just how much this has affected you, even if you had no direct connection to these families or even to Lewiston.
It's more evidence that we are all one big, small town here in Maine. We feel these connections deeply, and that when one of our communities is hurting this much, we all feel it.
We do want to leave you with a special tribute now from Sam Woodhead. He was born and raised in Lewiston, now a member of the U.S. Army Band Pershing Zone in Washington.
He performed a special version of Amazing Grace, and we want to leave you with that as we honor those we lost.